Session recorded. Allow everyone to provide their consent. And we are going to jumpstart this webinar with an amazing video highlighting the Tigert Hotel in Elkins, West Virginia.
Elkins is special because of the people and the collaboration that we see every day. We are a vibrant community because people care, and that's what brings people back. Having the Tigert Hotel developed will impact the Main Street in such a positive way, bringing people to our community for a unique experience and connecting to the businesses will take our community to the next level. The Tigert Hotel is located in the heart of our downtown, where it will connect specialty shops, bars, restaurants, and organizations together.
So the Tigert Hotel is the grand old hotel of Elkins. It was converted over time into apartments back in the 60s and 70s, and slowly kind of went downhill for a long time. It's right in the center of town. And this project is going to restore the Tigert back to a boutique hotel. Woodlands purchased the property about 3 years ago after many members of the community asked us to intervene and buy the property, which was in pretty rough shape at that time. And at the time that we bought it, the community also asked if we would at least take a hard look at converting it back to hotel. So the Tigert Hotel will be converted back into a boutique hotel, 56 rooms, full dining room and bar. We have a great development team that's already on the project, including a hotel management firm that's we've signed on with, and an agreement with Boutique Hotel Franchise. So this is an opportunity to invest in a central community asset that's key for Elkins and the surrounding region. It's going to restore a piece of history and a key building in our downtown. It's going to have amenities like a balcony with a banquet room in back of it, a bar and restaurant downstairs, and I think it's going to be something we're all going to be very proud of.
My name's Hoy Ferguson. I'm the Senior Vice President of the Davis Trust Company, a local financial institution here and located in Elkins, West Virginia. And we helped finance the acquisition of the old Tigert Hotel for Woodlands Development Group. Our downtown is a hub for this area, and a hub for this tourism industry that we have here. And so as we convert this into a hotel, it continues to provide a needed service to support that industry.
Oh, I think the development of the Tigert Hotel will be enormous for downtown Elkins. I mean, just to have visitors, staying in a unique boutique hotel location downtown, patronizing other businesses in this area, I think it's going to have huge ripple effects. Not to mention just the jobs that are going to be developed, in relation to the construction, and then also, probably 55, 60 permanent jobs that are going to come about once the hotel is fully in operation. I think it's going to really, have an tremendous effect.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carrie Staten. I'm the director of the Brownfields Assistance Center at WVU, and we are the state lead for West Virginia on Opportunity Appalachia this year. We're very excited to step into that role, and I'm excited to share with you all the great panelists we have today and to share more information on how you too can have a project like the Tigert Hotel. And we'll have some more information about that project from Dave Clark later this morning, as well as a couple of other great examples from last year. But first, we have a few great speakers to welcome us this morning, and Kristen, I believe, has our next video ready to go.
Welcome everyone to this.
Well, I'm sorry we can't be together in person. It's my honor to share support today for the Opportunity Appalachia program. And I want to thank the West Virginia Brownfields Assistance Center for their leadership, helping to clean up contaminated properties that are an eyesore to economic development. It's also been an important part of my work in Washington. I've authored brownfield legislation and understand the value in this work. Nationally, over the past 25 years, we've only seen an average of $64 million a year for brownfield redevelopment. But now, with a bipartisan infrastructure bill, there will be 5 times as much funding. But today, you're going to learn about Opportunity Appalachia, which is a complementary program, which could fill the funding gap so that a revitalization project can go from an idea to a reality. This program can support a broad range of projects, not just remediation. There are fewer restrictions with this program, giving projects a chance to secure this needed funding. So if you have an idea that might rejuvenate a community, please take the next step and submit an application. You could bring jobs and economic benefit to West Virginia. Look, we're all in this together, trying to improve the quality of life for the people of our state. Thank you to the Brownfield Assistance Center and for all of you for taking the time to be here today. God bless all of you.
As you may know, this is the second year of Opportunity Appalachia, and we were thrilled to inherit it from the Community Development Hub. And we have with us this morning the director of the hub, Stephanie Tyree, who's going to tell us a little bit about the potential for impact of the program based on their experience last year.
Good morning. Yes, as Carrie said, I'm Stephanie Tyree, Executive Director of the West Virginia Community Development Hub. It's great to see many friends and colleagues on the call this morning, and great to see a continued level of interest in this great program. The Hub was proud to partner on the first round of the Opportunity Appalachia program with Appalachian Community Capital, with support from the ARC Power Program and the Benedum Foundation. And we did, as Carrie mentioned, serve as the lead state partner in West Virginia. Over the course of the program, 6 Opportunity Zone communities were served by the Opportunity Appalachia program. The first round of the program was focused on opportunity zones, but that has shifted for this round to expand it, which I'm sure you'll hear about more later. Our first round of the program received applications from over 20 different West Virginia communities, primarily to access technical assistance to support pre-development costs for building development projects that were led by community leaders. But there are other types of projects as well, including broadband projects. In total, 6 projects received over $250 million in technical assistance funds and provided about $90,000 in matching funds, and moved forward major development projects, which you saw one example of. There's also videos for each of the projects that are really incredible stories that capture some of the work that's happening across the state that we find inspirational. We also got a great chance to work with the city of Bluefield with the support of Truist Bank to do a technical assistance training program for potential opportunity zone investors. So I want to just highlight that as one of the other things that can come from this program is not just technical assistance funds, but the ability to share expertise and think about all the different players that are part of this field. Throughout the Hub's work in the program, we worked hand in hand with the Northern Brownfields Assistance Center and the Downtown Appalachia program. And it was really a natural transition for them to step into a leadership role for the second round of the program, working with Appalachian Community Capital again. And we're excited at the Hub to continue to support the program with our great partners. So thank you for having me this morning, and welcome to round 2 of Opportunity Appalachia.
Thanks, Stephanie. We're so glad that you're with us and look forward to working with you on this year. None of this will be possible without Appalachian Community Capital pulling us together and shepherding the work. And so we're thrilled to have Donna Gamble, our fearless leader, with us today. And she's going to tell tell us a little bit more about what's going on before we move into some nitty-gritty details about the program?
Thank you, Carrie, and greetings, everybody. Thank you for participating in the kickoff of the state outreach meeting for Opportunity Appalachia. As people have mentioned already, this is phase 2 of this initiative, and we are just so pleased to be working with such great partners. You know, the first phase took place in 2020, 2021 in 3 states, Ohio, Virginia, and West Virginia, during the height of a global pandemic, and we were successful nonetheless. And success happened because of strong partners like the Benedum Foundation and Appalachian Regional Commission and the power grant that was provided by ARC to Appalachian Community Capital. And now we're so excited to be part of this second phase with West Virginia Brownfields Assistance Center. Carrie Staten and Ray Muller and the entire team have done just a tremendous job so far, and we are looking forward to the next journey of this, the next step of this, and that's the actual implementation. I'd also like to acknowledge Downtown Appalachia, Partner Community Capital, and so many others that have been strong collaborators on the first phase of Opportunity Appalachia, and now will be strong partners again during the second phase. You'll hear more about our partners from Rural Support Partners, which is the project manager for Opportunity Appalachia. So, you know, Appalachia is primed for development, primed for redevelopment, and this is what Opportunity Appalachia is all about. It's supporting projects at the critical development stage when technical assistance is most needed. And these TA or technical assistance teams work with each community to address identified gaps. The teams will be composed of local, regional, and national TA providers and could include market research groups, statewide architectural and engineering firms, regional CDFIs for financial structuring support, specialized consulting groups focused on select industries, and more. I am always so inspired by the folks who participated in the first phase of Opportunity Appalachia, and we continue to hear from them about the value of the collaboration, the value of the support that was provided. One person, in fact, said Opportunity Appalachia was intentionally designed to be responsive to local projects and local priorities, project-specific priorities. And it wasn't a cookie cutter capacity building initiative. Rather, we were able to tailor to our project and in ways that worked very well. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to see. And we know that we'll see many, many more projects in West Virginia that reflect the same sentiment that I just expressed here. So thank you all again for participating. And I'd now like to turn the program over to Catherine Coulter Rhodes with Rural Support Partners, who is our project manager for Opportunity Appalachia. Catherine.
Thank you, Donna. As Donna said, I'm Catherine Coulter Rhodes with Rural Support Partners. I am thrilled to be to serve as one of the project managers for Opportunity Appalachia, along with my colleague, Thomas Watson. Thomas has prepared and recorded a detailed overview of the program that should answer many of your questions and also probably bring up some others. So Kristen, let's dive into that.
Welcome, everyone, to the state level kickoff meeting for Opportunity Appalachia. My name is Thomas Watson. I'm the owner and managing director of Rural Support Partners. Myself and my colleague, Catherine Coulter Rhodes, play the project management role for Opportunity Appalachia. Today, I'm here to do 2 things. One is I'm going to give a general overview of Opportunity Appalachia. I'm going to talk about what it is. I'm going to talk about who's involved. And I'm going to talk about the general timeline of the major events coming ahead. Number 2, I'm going to dive deep into the application process and the submissions process. I'm going to talk about the type of projects that we're looking to support. I'm going to talk about the selection criteria. I'm going to talk about the types of technical assistance that will be provided through Opportunity Appalachia. And then I'm going to end with the submission deadline and the selection announcement dates. At the end of my presentation, we'll open up the floor for question and answer. And at any point in time during my presentation, you can submit questions into either the Q&A or the chat function at the bottom of your screen. So let's get started. So what is Opportunity Appalachia? It's a $3 million program to support 40 downtown and rural development real estate projects across the Appalachian counties that make up West Virginia, Ohio, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia. Specifically, we're going to provide $2.25 million in direct technical assistance to those real estate projects in the amount of $30,000 to $75,000 per project for the whole specific point of helping those projects to get prepared to receive broader investment. Toward the end of this project in the fall of 2023, every project that gets selected for Opportunity Appalachia will be brought together with a wide variety of investors, where we hope to bring down around $400 million in new investments to those projects that helps move things forward in communities throughout Appalachia. We do this for a much bigger purpose, which is to build strong and diverse local economies where local businesses can thrive, quality jobs can be created, and we have a special focus on those communities that's been hardest hit with the loss of coal jobs and the downturn of COVID. So who's behind Opportunity Appalachia? Well, Appalachian Community Capital, which is led by CEO Donna Gamble, is the visionary and the driving organization behind Opportunity Appalachia. And then at the state level, we have a state lead organization for each one of the 5 states involved in Opportunity Appalachia. In West Virginia, it's the Brownfields Assistance Center. It's the Ohio Southeast, the University of Tennessee, Opportunity Southwestern Virginia, and Mountain BizWorks in Western North Carolina. To round out our team, we have 2 national experts at the table, one with Main Street America and 2 with Coastal Enterprise. The team that you see here makes up the steering committee for Opportunity Appalachia. These are the folks that are continuing to move the vision forward, to problem solve along the way. They are the group that makes the decisions and the selection of the projects that move forward. And they are a great an expert group of folks to help guide this project forward. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Rural Support Partners, my organization, plays a project management role, which is really to keep the train on the tracks, make sure we hit all the stops along the way, and to end up at our destination at the right time in the right place. We also have a great set of funders. The Appalachian Regional Commission, through a power grant, is our largest funder. We also have funding from the CDFI Fund, from Truist Bank, Dogwood Health Trust, and Goldman Sachs. So the general timeline of events for Opportunity Appalachia looks like this. In February and March, we're in the state level kickoff meeting. So the meeting that you're in right now, there's a meeting like this that happens in every state that we're a part of. This is a place where people really begin to understand the application process. They get connected to their state lead organization, who will be your main point person as we move forward with this project. And you get all the information that you needed to start the application process itself. The application process is open from February 10th all the way to April 15th. Project selections will be announced on May 23rd. And then right after that, the Opportunity Appalachian staff will work with each one of the projects to do the matchmaking with your TA provider to get those TA contracts in place and to move that TA process forward starting in June. And then that process will last between 6 and 12 months all the way into 2023. And then in the fall of 2023, we will hold a big investor summit where we bring all the selected projects together with a large group of investors, pitch contests, matchmaking, and willing and dealing to bring more money down into the region to support those real estate projects that you're thinking about today. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the mechanics of Opportunity Appalachia. So what types of projects are supported? Well, we're looking for those downtown or rural development real estate projects. It has to be a real estate project. That real estate project has to support some broader economic development or diversification strategy. It just can't be my building for my purpose. It has to be connected to some broader effort that will bring in more jobs, that will help to spur the downtown redevelopment, that will do something broader than just redevelop the building. The project also has to be investable. At the end of the day, the project will have to have the ability to repay an investor's principal and a rate of return. You may have a stack of capital at the end of this thing that includes grants, but we're looking to support projects that will eventually bring down return on investment capital to support that project, to finance that project over the long term. We also have a set of priorities sectors that the more the project is connected to one of these sectors, the more likely it could get into the mix of Opportunity Appalachia. And those sectors include downtown redevelopment, manufacturing, IT, healthcare, education, clean energy, heritage tourism, and recreation. These aren't the only uses and connections that Opportunity Appalachia is interested in, but these are some of the priorities. The more that the project connects to these, the higher it will score on the selection process. So this is actually round 2 of Opportunity Appalachia. Round 1 happened in 2020 and 2021. In round 1, we selected 17 projects. You can see those projects on the Opportunity Appalachia webpage. Catherine, if you could put that link into the chat now so everybody can hold on to that webpage. Let me say a little sidebar here that webpage has all the information that you will need to apply for Opportunity Appalachia and to continue to think about whether your project is the right fit. So make sure you hold on to that webpage. In the federal kickoff that we did at the end of January with the Appalachian Regional Commission, we featured 3 of those first round projects. You can see those on the screen now. These are great examples of the kind of projects that Opportunity Appalachia is looking to fund. These folks actually came on in January and gave us an update of their project. We showed a video of their project. That recording, the webinar, was recorded, and that recording is on the Opportunity Appalachia webpage itself. So you could go back and look at those just to give you a good sense of the kind of projects that we're looking to support. So who should apply, or what type of entity should apply? Well, we're pretty open. Again, it can be a privately owned building. It just has to be connected to, some broader efforts. You can see in those a couple of those projects I just showed up there are hotels. They're privately owned hotels or a set of partners, but they're connected to a broader downtown redevelopment effort that includes lots of other partners as well. So we're pretty open to the management, who owns and manages the property itself. You can see the whole list here. I won't read these off. If you have any questions about this or have any concerns about your particular entity, just contact your state lead partner and they can talk with you more about this. So who should apply in terms of geography? Well, I've already talked about the 5 states that we're working in. We're specifically focused in the Appalachian counties of those 5 states. And we are prioritizing this list of things here at the bottom, those distressed counties, those at-risk counties, the persistent poverty counties, coal-impacted communities, and so on. On the Opportunity Appalachia website, these links are live, so you can go and see if your county fits into one of these links. I also want to say that there are a couple of exceptions to that. You may need to talk to your state lead organization because some state partners have actually raised additional funding that will allow a couple of other counties that don't fit into one of these criteria. It will allow those other counties to participate in Opportunity Appalachia, but that is on a state-by-state basis, and it's due to some local or state funding that will enhance Opportunity Appalachia's funding itself. So talk to your state lead organization if you have any questions about this, but this is the general guidelines of the geographic locations that Opportunity Appalachia will support. So what types of technical assistance will be supported or provided through Opportunity Appalachia? Well, it's all of that technical assistance that will help the project get ready to receive financing. So it could be anything from market research to demand assessment, to the architectural and engineering required, to the identification of project developers, to the investment outreach, to the business planning, operations, so on and so forth. This list isn't exhaustive, but this gives you a good understanding or a good idea of the kind of technical assistance that Opportunity Appalachia would support. And if you can make the case that the TA is needed to help the project get into the position to receive broader return on investment finance, then just talk to your state lead organization to make sure it fits into the mix. So who provides that technical assistance? Well, Opportunity Appalachia can do some matchmaking. We have a list of over 40 approved TA providers. Those providers have been vetted by the Opportunity Appalachia staff and really just to ensure that they provide high quality and have a great track record. That list of TA providers is on the webpage, so you can look through there and see if there's anybody that you know that you'd like to work with. And Opportunity Appalachia staff can do the matchmaking, based on what your needs are and what the TA providers provide themselves. You can also identify specific TA providers that you want to work with. You can list those in the application. There's a section in the application where you can say, hey, I want to work with these folks here. And if those TA providers are not on the approved list, then all they need to do is fill out a very simple application. We just need to vet to make sure that they're legitimate and have a good track record. And then we'll approve those folks to be part of your project itself. Each one of the projects will receive somewhere between $30,000 and $75,000 worth of TA support. That'll be grants to actually pay the TA providers to do the work that they're going to do on your project. And we would hope that the completion timeline for that TA would be somewhere between 6 and 12 months, starting around June-ish or sometime this year, going all the way into 2023. I also want to take this opportunity to say that we're always looking for new TA providers. So if you happen to be a technical assistance provider, or some technical assistance providers that you'd like to get into this mix, there is a TA application on the Opportunity Appalachia webpage. All you need to do is just go on, fill out that application. We'd love to get you on the approved list so you can become part of the mix as well. So there are some matching requirements, and we are including this concept of paying it forward this year. And so let me talk through both of those in some detail here. The first one's pretty straightforward. On the matching support, each project is required to provide $5,000 worth of match. That match can be funding, or it can be in kind through volunteer, through any kind of in kind work from the project team members of the broader community. But we are requiring that as a match, and just so that folks have some skin in the game, and that we're all doing our own part. And then this year we've included this concept we call it paying it forward, and this is really an opportunity to help continue to support other projects in the future. This is a great way to help sustain Opportunity Appalachia, and this would be a great way for your project to put a little bit of money back into the kitty that could actually support the technical assistance of another project on down the road. So let me talk about the criteria there and the specifics of this. So first of all, you would only have to pay it forward if, and this is the big if your project closes on financing within 3 years of receiving Opportunity Appalachian funding, right? So let me say that again. The only projects that have to pay it forward are projects that successfully close on project financing within 3 years of receiving Opportunity Appalachia support. So if your project does not receive full financing for your project in 3 years of signing on, then you don't have to pay anything for it, right? So this is only projects that get fully financed within 3 years. If you are financed within 3 years, then you would repay Opportunity Appalachia the lesser of either of these. Either the total project grant amount provided by Opportunity Appalachia, or 1% of the project's closed financing amount. So it's the lesser of either of those, the amount of funding that you receive from Opportunity Appalachia, or 1% of the project's closed financing amount. And so let me give you an example. So let's say that you receive $50,000 in TA support from Opportunity Appalachia. And then let's say that your project gets fully funded at $1 million, financed at $1 million in year 2. So that kicks in and says you need to pay it forward. Then your project will pay $10,000 back to Opportunity Appalachia as a pay it forward initiative to help another organization in the future, another project in the future. And how we came up with the $10,000 is that your closing finance cost was $1 million. 1% of that is $10,000. That is much less than the $50,000 that you receive from Opportunity Appalachia. So you pay the lesser. So you repay Opportunity Appalachia $10,000. The hope would be that that pay it forward amount could be rolled in as part of your financial close, as part of the stack of capital in your financial closing. But that'll be up to you on how all that comes back. You will work with your state lead on this. If you have any questions, y'all can talk this through. I know it can be a little confusing, so you can talk this through at the end of my presentation. So how do we connect the selected projects with investors? So, our goal, again, is to pull down around $400 million in new financing into Central Appalachia through this project. And so in the fall of 2023, we're going to invite all the projects who have been selected through Opportunity Appalachia to an investor summit. We're also going to invite a large group of investors to that summit. We already have 40 investors signed up and ready to go. And we're going to continue to organize more and more potential investors throughout the next year or so. These are the folks who are signed on with us now. And you can see there's a wide array of folks, everything from CDFIs to banks to public loan funds to opportunity zone investors and so on. And so at the Investor Summit, each one of the Opportunity Appalachia projects will get an opportunity to pitch their project in front of this large group of investors. We will set up lots of matching opportunities. You know, we're going to do our job to try to match the projects with the right kind of financing people and the investors who might be interested. And so we'll do a lot of matching. We'll do a lot of wheeling and dealing. We'll do a lot of connections. And the hope is that your project would then walk away with some investors who are interested in putting finance into the project itself. So what is the project selection criteria? What will you be judged on or scored on in the application process itself? And I'm going to talk through all 7 of these criteria. And each one of these, you'll literally get a score on them. And as I mentioned earlier, our steering committee, which you saw was Appalachian Community Capital, our state partners, and a couple of national partners at the table. Those folks will vet each application. They will score each application, and it will be scored on these 7 criteria. So let me talk through each one of these. So number 1 is that the project has identified community strategies and community engagement. This is pretty straightforward that, you know, we're looking to see if the project is connected to some larger community economic development strategy. Is it some sort of downtown strategy, some sort of rural development strategy? How does this fit into a broader economic opportunity and diversification or development strategy in your community? We also want to see that the public has been involved in the process itself. So can you show that there's larger community buy-in and participation? That might be charrettes, that might be community involvement, that might be lots of ways. But the more you can show that it's connected to a broader strategy, the more you can show that you have community buy-in, the higher you'll score on number 1. So number 2, that you have a clearly identified project and a vision for that project. So we're not just looking for a real estate project itself. We're looking for a project that has some vision, right? What will be the future use of this property itself? Who might be the tenants? How will it generate revenue? Who might be the customers who are going to be walking in the door of this place? How will the facility be utilized? Now, we recognize that part of the TA will help you build out that vision, but we're looking for some beginning ideas and some beginning vision for how the project might be used on down the road. Number 3, community impact. This one's pretty straightforward. What do you think the job creation might look like? How do you think it's going to diversify the economy? What additional investment might this project bring into the community itself? How will it impact the underserved population, diverse populations? So the more of that community impact you can vision and build out, the more likely and the higher scores you'll get on number 3. So number 4, that your team has the capacity and the track record to get this done, right? Can you show us that you've done similar projects? Can you show us a history and a track record and a capacity? Do you have the right team at the table to be able to carry out this project? That's all the scoring will be in number 4. Number 5, suitable for investment. So at the end of the day, Opportunity Appalachia is only going to support projects that are investable, that will go after return on investment capital that an investor would actually put some money into. So you have to be able to prove that the project is investable and that eventually the project will be able to support the debt service that comes from that investment itself. Number 6, identified existing community resources and identified your gaps. What we want to see is how does Opportunity Appalachia fit into the mix that you already have at the table? What resources do you have? What gaps do you have in those resources? And how does Opportunity Appalachia help fill one of those gaps that helps move the project forward that may not move forward otherwise? And the last one, number 7, is a pretty straightforward. Does it have a clean energy focus? And if so, it will get additional points for the clean energy focus. This is specifically because of the commitment of the values of sustainability of the region, and then some of the interest in our funders as well. So those are the 7 criteria. The application literally goes through each one of these points. You have an opportunity to make the case in each one of these. This is what the steering committee will be scoring you on. And at the end of the day, projects will be selected on the scores on these 7 different criteria. So submission deadline and project selection, we talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but a little more in depth. The application process opened in February 10th. It is an online submission. That online portal is on the Opportunity Appalachian webpage. Deadline for a submission is April 15th at 5 o'clock. Everything's got to be wrapped up in a bow and in that online portal by 5 p.m. on April 15th. And then the selections will be announced on May 23rd. Once selections are announced, the Opportunity Appalachian staff will begin working with each project to align up the TA provision. If you already have the TA provider in place, we'll help you get the contract in place, make sure everything is ready to go, provide support to make sure that the TA gets off the ground and everything moves. If you need to find the right TA provider, the Opportunity Appalachian staff will help find that right TA provider for you. We'll help them negotiate that contract with you, get it all in place, and let the TA go forward. We'll also continue to provide support. If you run into a snag, if you need some problem solving, you need some mediation with the TA provider, whatever you need in terms of support as things move forward, we will be there with you to help make sure that the TA provision works as it should throughout the whole process. I'll also say that if you're not ready to submit an application right now, or if you don't get selected in this initial round of applicants, then we are going to have a second call for applications sometime in the fall of 2023. We have not set that date yet, but we do anticipate doing a round 2 application sometime this fall. So stay tuned to Opportunity Appalachia webpage, stay connected to your state lead organization. And if you don't make it this time, then we would hope that you would get in the mix with us this fall. So last thing I'll say is that your main point of contact is your state lead partner. And these are the point people for each one of your states. These are the folks that you contact with questions around the application. If you have any needs, these are also the folks that can help you work through the application. If you have any assistant needs or anything like that, these are the folks to contact. These are the folks that can help you out in the application itself. And then lastly, again, everything you need to know is on the Opportunity Appalachian webpage. It is nestled under the Appalachian Community Capital webpage. There, as you'll see, there's the 2021 Opportunity Appalachian page, and there's a 2022 to 2024 page. Obviously, that's the one we're working on now. And I would encourage you to look at the round 1 one, especially to take a look at all those projects that were successfully supported through round 1. Will give you a good idea of the kind of things that we're looking to do in round 2. With that, I certainly appreciate everybody's participation today. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to see all this move forward. We look forward to working with you. Y'all take it from here. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Thanks again for being with us. Bye-bye.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ray Moeller. I'm I'm excited to be the on-the-ground facilitator for the Northern Brownfield Assistance Center and provide some of the legwork in support of Opportunity Appalachia. As mentioned, we have some really prime examples of previous Opportunity Appalachia work that we're going to have provided for you this morning. And I am honored to have worked with each of the folks that you're going to be hearing from and know a lot about their projects. And it's just an honor to be involved. We're going to kick it off with another one of the Opportunity Appalachia videos. This one will be of the STATS project in West Charleston. And then we'll follow that up with Ty Bullock, who is the project leader for that. Go ahead, Kristen.
My name is Amy Goodwin. I'm the mayor of the city of Charleston, the capital city in the great state of West Virginia. Charleston is such a unique place. It's such a hip, historic, funky, fun place. We have the big city feel, but a tight-knit community. We have families that grew up here. We have new families that are moving here. We're an arts community. We're a food community. You know, we fall upon the confluence of the Elk and the Kanawha River. We believe and we embrace all that is wild and wonderful about the outdoors here. Yes, we're the capital city. Yes, we're the seat of government and business here in the city of Charleston. But we're also mountain bikers, we're kayakers. We believe in skate parks. We believe in going outside and playing. The development of the Stats building is almost that final piece of the puzzle. It's that thing that this community has been looking forward to so much. There's so much energy that is around Elk City, so much energy that's around this particular project, that I know that, yes, a fire was started long ago in Elk City, but this would be the culmination of years and years of wonderful work in this outstanding community. This is a model community, and having the Stats project come to fruition, we're going to be a model for the entire country.
My name is Ty Bullock, and I am the project coordinator and owner of the Stats project. The Stats building project is a 4-story, approximately 30,000 square foot mixed use development at the heart of the Elk City Historic District that is sort of the linchpin of the whole community, and has a lot to offer, and we're very excited to be able to offer that. So at the Stats building, the bottom floor will be a retail mercantile space that we hope to have sort of an indoor market feel to it, with kiosks and multiple offerings, product offerings, service offerings in a kind of a cool urban chic environment. The second, third, and fourth floors will be nice residential spaces with a historic feel to it, but obviously all the modern amenities, great views of the river, of the downtown area, of the deeper west side, and of the mountains.
This is a project that will have an immediate impact. It is a project that is very well desired. It's a project that will help to add, if you will, the cherry on top of a development that has taken place in an area that was completely underutilized and underdeveloped. And it will be something that people will welcome. There will be quite a bit of excitement and folks that will just come by to see it because they like it, and then they'll tell their friends. That way you'll have just so much conversation about something that's new and exciting and different and very, very well sought after in this city.
So I'd like to welcome Ty to the table here and have him give us a little more detail.
Hey, can you guys see me?
Your slides are up, bud.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ty Bullock. I'm the owner of the Stats project, as the video just said, and it's as we said, a 30,000 square foot building. Was designed by one of West Virginia's first registered African American architects, and we've been partnering with Opportunity Appalachia now for over a year. And so I wanted to give you guys a quick summary of our project and how Opportunity Appalachia helped us get to this point. So my background is I'm an accountant and an attorney. I've been working construction for about 20 years. My dad is my partner in this project. He's an engineer and an accountant as well. And over the years, we've been working on about 20 different buildings in the neighborhood, some commercial, some residential, some mixed use. And we're very proud of the work we've done so far, and we're ready to continue for the next project, which is the Stats. And so, as we said, this one's going to be mixed use as well. It's 4 stories. The second and third floor will be residential. The first floor will be mercantile, retail spaces, and the top floor will be offices. Here you can see one of the iterations of a post-construction breakdown. Some isometrics here. Here's kind of an idea of what we're looking at for that mixed-use retail space on that bottom floor. Like I said, sort of a kiosk space, couple anchor tenants, a restaurant, but also just an opportunity for small businesses in the neighborhood to either grow, relocate, or just start from the beginning. Currently, the building is, we have a brand new roof on it. We have about 22 brand new windows on the top floor. We've remediated the asbestos, and we're now into our new iteration of the building.
Hey, Ty?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the titles are showing up, but the visuals aren't. So go ahead and do your best job of describing what we're supposed to be looking at, bud.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize.
That one's good. What we're looking at now works.
Oh, okay. Well, the visuals were pretty much over, but what I'd like to talk about really just for the last 2 minutes or so is the how helpful Opportunity Appalachia has been for us in this project, in the sense that they really helped us get the impetus behind us to work with ZMM Architects and Engineers and Mike Giolis, tax credit consultant, to sort of move forward on this concept of a mixed use retail space. And so, as I said, we worked with ZMM Architects and Engineers, and they've done these isometrics. We've really kind of laid down the basis for a good project. And as part of that, we're working on our part 2. We have a grant to we're working on a grant to complete our part 2 and move on to the actual construction in the part 3. So it's been really tremendous for Opportunity Appalachia. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Ty. And I've already talked to Ty about potentially down the road giving a more detailed overview of what got him from here to there and how Opportunity Appalachia played a role. And it's an exciting project, and there's nothing like live presentations to have things happen that you just don't expect. But trust us, this is a great one, and it's in a great location on the west side. So Ty, thanks for being part of that this morning, and we'll look forward to hearing more about it.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And the next up is Heather Hudson from project in Grafton. Very exciting. The Cohen project could be so impactful on Main Street, Grafton. And Heather, go ahead and blow us away.
No pressure there. I'm being asked to blow you away, but I will certainly do the best that I can here. So hello, my name is Heather Hudson, and I am the Executive Director of Unleash Tigers, which is the project sponsor of the Cohen building, which is this magnificent building you see in front of you. This is the architectural rendering of what our building should look like by spring of 2023. So this is a 33,000 square foot building that's been vacant since about 2016. And we've worked through the last few years to kind of get it to where it is today, which is a mixed use facility featuring co-working space, nonprofit space to create kind of a synergistic nonprofit center of services, as well as private corporate space, with our anchor tenant being a homegrown tech company that was started in Grafton about 15 years ago called Mountain Leverage. So I kind of wanted to walk you through, rather than talk really specifically about the intricacies of our project, I wanted to walk you through the technicalities of how we got to where we are today. So in front of you, you see kind of our project journey. The building vacant in 2016. 2019, the use was conceived of the building, looking at what is going on inside of our tiny community of 17,000 people. And what are the really high level deficits that we can address inside of this building? And what we found is a lack of turnkey commercial space, We have tons of vacant buildings in Grafton, but we have a lot of missing ownership of those buildings, of dislocated ownership, and huge capital investments for anybody who would be interested in using those buildings. So really, turnkey commercial space was really key for something that we need in our community. So in 2019, we started researching options of what we could do to bring funding to this building. And we actually started down the Community Facilities Program with the USDA, which led us to getting our pre-work started in 2019. In 2020, that kind of shifted to when we found out that we could apply both new market tax credits and historic tax credits to this program. So we started walking down the NMTC and HTC pathways in 2020. And then we were able to work with People Inc., who is our CDE in this project, to lock them in for a $10 million new market tax credit allocation. And then Opportunity Appalachia came up, and we are in an opportunity zone. So we applied for that, and then we met our friends at WVU Brownfields with the DARE program, Downtown Appalachian Redevelopment. And so then 2021 was really all about design, leasing, and leverage. We had all of our pre-work completed. We were just really looking for that leverage piece. West Virginia has a huge need of folks who really understand these projects and how they work, and that you can't necessarily look at projects like this through a traditional commercial lens. So trying to find that leverage piece was very difficult. And now we're in 2022 and we're looking at finalizing and closing our project. So in front of you is kind of a rundown of all of the pre-work that we have done to our project throughout the years. Everything from a DUNS and SAM registration so that we would be eligible for federal financing, all the way through to a marketing agency that we wanted to onboard. And I wanted to show kind of what that pre-investment looks like. So here you have a breakdown of all of the pre-close expenditures that we have put inside of our project since 2020. The first three line items are the things that were covered inside of Opportunity Appalachia, which was right under a $60 million, or 60 million. Woo, Donna, can I get 60 million? $60,000 investment from Opportunity Appalachia. And as you can see, we've been able to almost do a little over a dollar for dollar match of that original investment, which is incredible. And we are extremely thankful to all of the folks who have come beside of us to bring our project to where it is today. So this is kind of the funding mix that we're looking at inside of our project. The new market tax credit piece, again, People Inc. issued us an LOI for the original allocation of 10 million. PNC coming in as the investor was also interested in bringing in allocation. So People Inc. was very kind in working with us so that we would be able to entertain what PNC wanted to bring to the table as the federal HTC investor, the new market tax credit investor, and the bringing in a piece of leverage. So PNC is covering the HTCs, and then we are looking at our state HTCs by Fallbrook Financial. Then you can see our leverage there with our friends at Coastal Enterprises and Fahi are working with us to bring in that. And we're looking at our bridge funding through NDC. So we put all of that together and we have a $10.1 million project. How Opportunity Appalachia has helped us in many, many, many ways. First and foremost, you guys have heard and seen a couple of the videos. That was covered by Opportunity Appalachia. So it was completely free to us as the project, which is huge because it was not a rinky-dink operation. They were professionally done, professionally produced, and that was a great benefit. Beyond that, the knowledge base. I am somebody who saw a need in our community and pulled the people together to help me answer that need. I knew nothing about this world. So being able to have this group of experts who really are in this field is invaluable to what we were trying to do. Second is leveraging participation. Opportunity Appalachia made the first large investment into our project, and then we were able to leverage that investment to bring in a dollar for dollar, a little over a dollar per dollar that they invested. So just being able to say we're a part of Opportunity Appalachia, they've already invested in us, brought huge legitimacy to our project. Lastly is the ongoing support inside of OpApp. This was not a flash in the pan. They gave us $60,000, we went and spent it and then filled out a grant report. They've really stayed involved with us, and we talk about quarterly, I think, about what's going on inside of it and how it's working, and always checking in with each other about ideas or what we could do. So without Opportunity Appalachia, we would not be where we are in our project today, which is looking toward a close in our financial close within the next, hopefully 90 days. And then opening, we're looking at 11 to 12 month turnaround in construction and be able to open and operate in 2023. So huge gratitude to everybody within Opportunity Appalachia for helping us get to where we are today. And if you even have a concept of an idea, I really think that you should apply, reach out to these folks. They can help you formulate where you need to go and what you need to do. So, and I will put all my contact information in the chat if anybody has any questions.
Wow, thanks, Heather. That was an awesome presentation of the exciting Cohen project in Grafton. Thanks so much. And I'm going to keep the ball rolling here so we can give Dave Clark from Woodlands Development and Lending a really good opportunity to speak about a little bit further about the Tigard Hotel. You saw it on an earlier video, but the project itself is incredible. And Dave, show us what's happening.
Thanks, Ray. And thanks to Heather and Ty. I love hearing about their projects and seeing those ones evolve. And it's great to see so many friendly and familiar faces on the screen here. Just brief background. We are, Woodlands is a nonprofit community development corporation. We're also a community development financial institution, or a CDFI. We're engaged in a variety of different lines of business, as you can see here. The Tigard Hotels, we heard in the video, was kind of the grand old hotel of Elkins. It was converted to housing in the 60s and 70s. By the time we picked it up in 2018, it was a really, really horrible place, actually. It accounted for about over half of the city's police calls. It was just a rough place. So we bought it in 2018 after a series of community meetings. And then shortly after, we went ahead and also committed to at least trying to convert it back to a boutique hotel. And that's where we landed. And so one of the key pieces, like Heather, ours is going to use both new market tax credits and historic tax credits. We landed that new markets commitment in 2019, which kind of gave us a leg up. And so we were able to come into Opportunity Appalachia with kind of that linchpin funding already in place. And so, as I said, it's going to be converted back to a 56-room hotel with full restaurant, bar, and a little conference room. So we used our Opportunity Appalachia funds for a couple things. One, we used it to get started on the design, to refine our construction numbers, which are key. But we also knew that historic tax credits were going to be a key piece of this. And so just knowing that process and what it takes through the design process and then the approval process can take some time. So we wanted to get a head start on that. The other piece we used it is not to get in the weeds by any means, but just to be able to utilize tax credits as a nonprofit organization. We got to jump through a bunch of hoops and create a bunch of subsidiary organizations. And so we used Opportunity Appalachia to get that process started in that entity formation and that project structuring. What Opportunity Appalachia also did was help us coalesce this really great team that we now have on the project. In addition to many of the other partners, we also have a hotel management company that we've entered into agreement with, Taylor Hospitality, great partner. We know nothing about hotels or hotel management, and they bring a lot of expertise. We've also entered into a franchise agreement with Choice Hotels and their Ascend Boutique Hotel collection. I'm not going to go through the whole list. Obviously, all of these projects, it definitely takes a village. Everybody on this list has contributed substantially to the project, not just a letter of support, but something really substantive. Just to give you a rundown on how the finances kind of shake out, this is a $15.6 million project. Behind every one of these line items is another 2 or 3 entities. I think I counted 17 lenders or investors in the project at the end of the day. Each one, of course, with its own set of attorneys, which makes it really interesting. But working in a rural area like this is kind of what it takes to put these deals together. We're close. We're very close. Actually, I got to jump off this presentation in just a bit to go into a closing call on the project. We expect to close by the end of the month. We got about a 14-month construction period, opening up in May of 23. So just real quickly, just kind of some of the lessons we've learned along the way, and along with Opportunity Appalachia, these pre-development dollars are absolutely critical to these projects. They're relatively small to the size of the project, but these are really hard to find dollars. And this is a great resource. We've also learned we need to be really strategic about how we use those funds and really thinking through the particular project and the development process. It's easy to get caught up in spinning your wheels on something. And if we had to do it over again, I might shift our priorities around a little bit to make better use of those dollars and speed things along. But we've learned a lot through this whole process. I think it's important to point out that the tools we have available to us, tax credits, opportunity zone financing, whatever it may be, these are not really designed to be used in rural West Virginia. That was not the target audience. And these are really designed for larger, urban, bigger scale projects. And so we just have to be really creative about how we make these tools work for us in rural areas. I think it's always worth pointing out, some of you heard me say before, I think we need to note that these projects are tough. They're really hard to put together. These are high risk, no return projects. I like to say, we're not attracting big developers in here because the margins aren't really there, but hugely impactful. And I think this has just renewed my belief that these projects are doable. We've got a lot of smart people in the state. We've got great resources available, including Opportunity Appalachia. And like Heather, I'd really like to applaud Opportunity Appalachia, not just for putting money into the project and helping on that front, but I really think that to address these projects and these problems at any scale that's going to have an impact, we've got to keep talking to each other. And that's really what Opportunity Appalachia has provided, is a great forum to learn from each other and to do more. All right. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Dave. These are three amazing projects. And Dave, I think after your call, you're going to be back for maybe the Q&A in case there's something specific. Excellent. We are just excited that these projects have been brought to fruition in the previous round. I want to make just a couple of real good points right here and re-emphasize that this round of Opportunity Appalachia does not require opportunity zone location. So that opens up a lot of our state. And the projects you've seen today, very significant projects, each of them multi-million, and the Tiger Hotel, many multi-million. And not every project has to be of that scope. We want to gauge the impact. There's going to be criteria as far as the project selection, but we just really want to emphasize that if we can impact more communities, get a little more rural, try to really have that downtown impact or that redevelopment type impact, doesn't have to be downtown. That's our goal. And we look forward to hearing from the West Virginia community and various communities about whatever projects they may have. And again, you've been given some of the clear criteria for how to carry a project forward. So hang in there for the Q&A later if you have any of those questions. And Carrie, I guess I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Ray. And thanks for clarifying that on the size of projects. I think the only thing I would add would be to echo Heather's note that if you think you might have a project, but you're not sure that it's as big as the ones you heard about today, or you're not sure if it's a fit, call Ray first and let him help you figure out if it's a fit. Don't decide it's not a fit and not give it a shot, because we want to make sure to get as many projects as we can. So I think you've heard from all of our great panelists so far in the video that the main end goal of the Opportunity Appalachia program is to help attract investment to your projects and is to help you connect with those projects And I hope you've noticed the theme that at least in West Virginia, these kinds of projects are not going to happen with one single investor. It takes a good number of investors. And for a while, when I first started in Brownfield work, there was sort of a joke amongst Brownfield speakers that it takes 14 investors or funding sources to complete every project. And the joke was that everyone attributed that number to everyone else, right? So Mary Hunt would say it and say that someone else had said it, and someone else would say it and say they heard Patrick Kirby say it. So I don't know who said that, but I think it's likely pretty true that it does take a number of sources on any project in West Virginia, especially at the scale you've heard about today, but even at a smaller scale. And for that reason, our next two panels are going to include folks from a couple of those traditional private and public funding sources. And so we hope that you'll hear a little bit more today about what those folks are looking for when they're looking at a project, what other resources are available, that an Opportunity Appalachia technical assistance grant that in the scheme of things is not huge, can leverage, as you saw from Heather and Dave and Ty, how much that even small investment can leverage. So Ray Daphner is going to kick us off with our first panel.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ray Daphner, and I'm with Opportunity Appalachia, working on this really exciting program with the whole team that you have heard from today. And it's my pleasure to moderate an investor panel. And on our panel today, we have three great speakers to talk about their interest in investing in the types of projects that you heard about today. To kind of underscore the type of work that Opportunity Appalachia, type of support that will be provided. Earlier, you heard that there will be an investor convening to bring together, last time there were over 40 different investors participating, but Opportunity Appalachia will work hard outside of this particular convening event, and will work with your TA providers and will work directly with you and your project to introduce and connect you to the types of investors that you need to move forward, whether those are bank lenders or CDFIs or tax credit investors, opportunity zone investors, a range of different financing sources. So the three speakers we have today, first are Daniel Wallace. Daniel is a Senior Vice President for Lending and Investment with Coastal Enterprises. And Coastal Enterprises is one of the leading rural investment organizations in the United States and has a strong interest in projects in West Virginia. Coastal operates a CDFI, a New Markets Tax Credit Investment Fund, and an Opportunity Zone Fund. And just on the New Markets investing alone, they've done over $1 billion in transactions. Our second speaker will be Aaron Spork, and Aaron is Vice President of Commercial Lending with Huntington Bank in the West Virginia market. And I think just about everyone on this call knows Aaron from the tremendous work he's done leading economic development activities for Senator Capito. And our third speaker is Kevin O'Connor. And Kevin is a senior business lender with Partner Community Capital, statewide CDFI in West Virginia. Kevin has strong background with Huntington Bank, M&T, and First National. And I think many people here have worked directly with Partner Community Capital, formerly NCI Fund. So with that as introduction, I think Daniel, you're first up.
Great, thank you very much, Ray. It's wonderful to be here this morning. I do hope you all won't hear too much background noise. As it turns out, we are actually moving around our office today, so there is a lot of activity in and around me. So I am Daniel Wallace. I am the head of our lending and investment group out of CEI up in Maine. As Ray mentioned, Coastal Enterprises, or Coastal. We seem to have multiple names. But what we're focused on is investing in rural America. And our home territory is Maine, that's true, but we also do a lot of work nationally, and different parts of our organization and subsidiary companies work nationally in rural America. I've got a lot of ground to cover in only a couple of minutes. I want to give you a flavor for a few different types of capital that Coastal provides. And I think you tend to need to think of it as a menu of options. Here are some different possibilities to consider for your projects. Some of the sources will lend themselves more towards larger projects, but not all of them. And a really critical factor is the notion of a blended capital stack. It sounds like that's been discussed already, but bringing many different types of capital together in order to catalyze a project, particularly with the larger projects, but also with smaller ones. The sources I'm going to mention to you are all interested in some form of social benefit. So keep that in mind as well. I'm sure you were thinking about these things anyway, but that could be quality jobs. It could be healthcare. But there is some way of all of these sources really wanting to have a positive impact in your community. So here we go. I wanted to mention new market tax credits. We have a subsidiary company called CEI Capital Management that is one of many new market tax credit allocatees around the country. So we're not the only option, there are many. This is a federal tax program to provide private capital to low-income communities to support economic growth. These typically are larger projects in the $8 to $10 million range just for the tax credits. They don't have to be that large, but that tends to be when they're most effective. And the funds are used to fill some gap in the project capital. Rehabilitation, new construction, equipment, working capital, lots of different uses for the tax credits. There are eligibility criteria. We don't have the time to get into them, but there are qualified census tracts. So that would be something to check early if you're thinking about new markets. And again, real interest in community outcomes. Childcare is one I didn't mention before that is really interesting. Two quick project highlights. Our CCML did a project in Georgia, Premium Peanut. It was a $20 million project for a peanut shelling facility. So essentially manufacturing, and brought more than 225 farmers together to supply the factory. So that's a really interesting project. Another interesting project is way the heck out in Hawaii, but was a community health center. So that was an $8 million project that supported a community health center. So that's one potential option, our new market tax credits. And again, I am just way highest level, but gonna breeze through these. Another option that CEI provides is a newer subsidiary called CEI Boulos Capital Management. This is essentially a real estate investment fund that was previously tied exclusively to opportunity zones, but Ray, Donna, it's not moving forward. So that does open up the possibility to more projects. These are $500,000 to $5 million equity investments directly in projects, seeking, again, social impacts, looking for a high degree of community support around the projects. This is more bordering on high finance. These are projects that are looking for a market rate of return. So in that case, might not be applicable to all the projects here. And they're really ready to get CEI Boulos involved. They want the project to be really well baked, but that's a great opportunity to work with Opportunity Appalachia and pull things together to get investment ready. They've done a number of very interesting projects, some student housing in Pembroke, North Carolina. They did a hotel restoration project in Selma, Alabama. So they've been really doing some interesting work around the country. I wanted to mention really quickly, though, it's just to make sure it's on your radar. It's not a product that my company can offer in West Virginia, but just keep historic tax credits in mind for your projects. There's if you qualify for the program, you'd have to work with your state historic preservation office and the National Park Service. Of course, there's a process and a protocol to it. But if you have a historic building, the tax credit advantages are pretty significant. Really, close to 45% of your project can be funded with historic tax credits between the state and the federal credits. So something to be thinking about if you're working on bringing back to life an older building. Unfortunately, I wasn't here for the first hour. Potentially, you heard from a project that we're involved in that is using historic tax credits. Lastly, I just wanted to mention the work that I actually am most responsible for, which is our general lending and investment out of coastal enterprises. I want to make sure folks know that there are many CDFIs around the country. So many potential partners out there. You'll hear from Kevin momentarily. And of course, Appalachian Community Capital is a huge part of this project, but there are just many CDFIs. We are one of them, focused on rural America. And we tend to support business loans mostly, but we also get involved in some larger projects, some real estate projects. One thing to note here is that CDFIs might have a more appetite for smaller projects. Again, some of those other sources that I mentioned kind of need some scale to them, not all of them, but some. So CDFIs are there to do oftentimes microloans all the way up through, $2-3 million loans. And we tend to fill in gaps in projects. And we've had the great opportunity to work with Kevin at Partner Community Capital, who you'll hear from shortly, a number of times in West Virginia, which has been really wonderful for us. I should wrap up because you have two more presenters, but just thank you so much for letting me be here today. Think about the challenges, but the necessity of bringing multiple flavors of capital to your projects as you're proceeding and thinking through your next steps. And I'll be available briefly for questions at the end in case anybody has them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Really appreciate that summary and all the great work that CEI does to support rural communities. Our next speaker will be Aaron Spork. Aaron?
Thanks, Ray. It's good to see you. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up? Okay. Well, my name is Aaron Spork. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces across my screen. As most of you know, last September, I joined Huntington National Bank as the state commercial banking lead for Huntington, covering the entire state of West Virginia. And so, although most people tend to think of a commercial banking relationship as kind of, like mid-sized to large companies, for Huntington, the commercial bank not only includes what we call middle market banking, which is exactly what I just described. There's mid to large size companies, but that also includes our capital markets group, also includes our public finance group, and also includes our government banking group. And I'm the lead relationship manager for all of those different channels for the bank across the state. And so I think for the purposes of this conversation, the things I want to highlight is, one, in case you're not familiar with Huntington, we are now a $175 billion regional bank. We're a top 10 regional bank and top 20 bank in the country. And what comes along with that is a lot of very sophisticated capabilities to do projects and to assist businesses and entities all across the bank's footprint. And in some cases, we have a national practice group for very specific sectors that will follow customers and clients all across the country. But for this purposes, I wanted to start off with our commercial real estate group. If you're doing a like mixed use project in the state, or if you're looking to do housing in the state that's going to be market rate, that's where our commercial real estate group will come in. And we are actively working now on a couple projects in the state, trying to find the right home for them within Huntington, within our CRE group. But that's going to be your the example I would use for that is, that's going to be projects like the Atlas Lofts in downtown Charleston, that or kind of like the Borey Lofts and Wheeling, those mixed use developments that also provide downtown housing. We also have a Cdli Group, which stands for Community Development Lending and Investment. And this is an area where the bank is really expanding our capabilities and growing rapidly. And that's the group that will be involved in your new market tax credit projects, your historic tax credit projects, your low-income housing tax credit projects. We do all of those to some varying degrees with new markets. We're not buying the tax credits yet, but we will likely be doing that in the near future as the bank continues to evolve this group. And then the last thing I wanted to mention specific to the real estate projects is if those first two buckets aren't a good fit, we've invested heavily both in human capital and technology within our capital markets group. And we've got a team within the bank that does kind of more innovative, cutting edge projects using the capital markets as a resource for the capital. So for example, we've got a group that I work with very closely that we're on the front edge of some new products that use the ability for local governments to be engaged in some of these mixed use projects to access bond financing to make the project cash flow more efficiently. And so there's a lot of things we can do. We want to partner with you on your projects. And then the last thing I would mention is that as Huntington has grown, we rolled out a new community plan that's $40 billion worth of investment in the bank's footprint. And that includes things like the community development and lending that I mentioned earlier, but the bank's target within that 40 billion is for $6.5 billion to be devoted to that community development lending and investment. And so I work closely with our state market president, Chad Prather, on kind of rolling some of those things out in the state. And then the last thing I'll mention is that for those that are not familiar, Huntington's the #1 SBA lender in the country. We're the #1 SBA lender in West Virginia. And part of the reason that drives that is we are an SBA preferred lender, which makes it much easier for small businesses that are looking to access SBA capital to work through us than some of our peers. So please keep that in mind as you're working with your local businesses that, if you've got a mixed use real estate project and you're, looking to bring in a new small business, maybe a boutique or something like that on the first floor of the building, we can be a source of capital for them as well. So Ray, I'll leave it there. And then if there's any questions, happy to engage. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron. And as we can all see, Aaron is still working hard to bring financial resources and technical support to West Virginia, just in a different role. So thank you, Aaron, for joining us. We'll move to our next speaker, Kevin O'Connor with Partner Community Capital.
Great. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kevin O'Connor. I'm the Senior Business Lender for Partner Community Capital. Can you hear me out there? Okay, super. One thing I wanted to mention with the name Partner Community Capital, this is a new name for us. We did a branding in August of 21, so everybody may be more familiar as Natural Capital Investment Fund. Nothing has really changed, just the name. As we've been in West Virginia for over 20 years. We're the largest CDFI fund here in West Virginia. And we cover West Virginia and North Carolina, our two primary markets that we work in. At advertise that we're in 8 states across the Appalachia. And what we do, just kind of give you what our main focus priorities are, but we are a loan fund. We provide working capital, equipment financing, real estate financing, anywhere from a micro loan, could be $5,000 to $10,000 all the way up to $1 million is kind of where we at. We can do primary lending directly. with the borrower, or we team up a lot with, let's say you have a traditional bank that we work with, and then we can come in as a junior lender behind that provides equity positioning. If you don't have enough equity in it, we can come in as a subordinate to provide that. Just kind of, if there's some risk involved in it, for maybe it's a new startup or historic financials maybe aren't there, but the perspective of a project like a downtown redevelopment project, the building, you have revenue coming in, we can come in and help you to get that established. And just like I say, it offsets the risk from your traditional bank financing. We're also an SBA Community Advantage lender. In that program, we can do loans up to 150,000 or 250,000 with that program. And then we're USDA BNI lender as well. And kind of our priorities where we're at, we're looking for projects. Right now we have a downtown redevelopment program with the assistance of with ARC funding. So we're looking for downtown projects that we can help with. And then again, our target, we can do all throughout West Virginia, but again, we're honing in to look for priorities in the ARC designated at risk or distressed counties or persistent poverty counties as well. And sometimes in those, it's a challenge for those is maybe trying to get traditional bank financing in those areas. But again, we can come in and help leverage and provide financing in that. We've been real active in kind of looking at some of the priorities in the ACC group that they showed you on the one side. Clean energy projects. We're coming out with a solar energy project for commercial buildings. We're changing. We've always done that. We're coming up with a little bit different flavor on a new program, lending program for that. Tourism, heritage, tourism and recreation. Currently, we have the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System. We've been involved with that over the last 4 years, put a number of projects in for building cabins for more hospitality opportunities down in the 8 counties for the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System. So we're actively in that. And what you've seen today, we're talking about new markets and historic tax credits. And I think it's always been a challenge here in West Virginia to take part in those projects, because like Daniel was talking about the size of those, the flavoring is probably at least over 10 million or 8 to 10 million, just because of the cost aspects of putting the projects together. And it's kind of fun to see the projects, 2 of them that have been mentioned today with the Tigert Hotel and the Cohen Building we're actively involved with both of those projects. And the one with the Tigert, we're working with what Dave was talking about. Been working with Dave probably for about 4 years with that. We have very many layers of lenders involved in it, from grant financing to leverage lending. So it's kind of a fun project, but it does take a team. And now this would be our first new market tax credit. We're partnering with Daniel Wallace at CEI as well too. FAHE's involved in it, another CDFI fund. So I think when you think about it now, we're kind of teaming up with the CDFI funds. We can come in and kind of that leverage lender portion has been something that's been a challenge. Trying to get that lending. It just doesn't fit the mold for traditional financing, just the mechanics of it and how it works. But we're able to kind of partner with other CDFI funds to make those projects go. So that's kind of exciting to see that project, and with the Cohen Building. So again, I just want, put that out there as you kind of put these projects together. There is help. We're out here to help. We're open to any type of communication during the process. Get us involved. My other lenders, Justin White is based out of Charleston. He covers the southern end of the state. I cover the northern and eastern panhandle, just from geographically easy to drive to here. But we're both open to want to sit down with you, get us involved early in the discussions, how we can help. We do have technical assistance from time to time that we can help as well. And they talked about leveraging other TA assistance, so we may be involved, have something available on that side as well. So I'll leave it at that. Just thank you for the opportunity. We want to be able to talk. I'd like to hear all about your projects over the next couple of years as this progresses through. So thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much. As you can hear, this is a great group of representative investors. And, as Kevin mentioned, both CEI and Partner Community Capital are involved in financing both the Tigard Hotel and the project in Grafton, the Cohen Building. The tremendous support that Huntington Bank can provide, both financially from a technical assistance point of view. I also want to highlight that there are 3 other banks represented on this Zoom meeting. We have Westbanco, we have MVB Bank, and Truist, and really welcome all your support. And of course, Truist is a financial sponsor of the Opportunity Appalachia program. As folks have described, these transactions are financed in many ways. And there are some small transactions in the Opportunity Appalachia portfolio. There was a $1.2 million project in Somerset, Ohio, for example, and in Hinton, West Virginia, that project's under $2 million as well. In some cases, local funds are raised. Groups of local investors participated in financing transactions. So there are many ways to put together your capital stack. And in addition to the investor convening that Thomas Watson mentioned earlier on, once projects are selected for participation, Opportunity Appalachia will be notifying 40+ investors of those projects that were selected. And our experience last time was we set up over 15 individual calls with investors who are interested in your projects to begin conversations early as you begin this TA process. And so Ray Muller, do we have time for questions for this panel, or should we hold these to the end as part of the broader questions?
I think we're probably up against needing to get in that next session, so we'll hold until the end, if that's all right with everybody.
Well, thank you to our speakers. Really appreciate your participation today. And Ray, back to you.
Thank you. All right, our final panel is just an example of some of the public funding that could be relevant to your project. So we've got a couple of great folks from some state agencies, and then a couple of folks from some federal agencies. So we're going to start state and go federal. And so first off, we have Mike Graney with us. He's the director of the West Virginia Development Office, and he's going to give us an update on what's happening in that office.
Well, Carrie, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? Great. So I'm excited to learn about the Opportunity Appalachia Phase 2. And appreciate you having me. Talk a little bit about the Development Office and some programs that we have that might be interesting to you. The Development Office, well, actually now the Department of Economic Development is really known for its business and industrial development group. We do retention, expansion, and attraction. We also have an international division, but we also have the Community Advancement and Development Office, which does community development block grants with HUD, and is sort of the clearinghouse for Appalachian Regional Commission, along with a number of other programs. We also have the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, which has business coaches, throughout the state and can help with access to capital. And if you become a client of theirs, the service is for free. They can certainly, help you with a marketing plan, with an advertising plan. They have a number of subject matter experts to help with cybersecurity. I mean, you name it. They can provide a great service. We've also developed recently the West Virginia Business Link. And so I encourage you to check out the West Virginia Business Link because it provides a resource center to other resources that are available for small businesses throughout the state. We have over 120 different subscribers at this point to offer those services. We also have the Office of Energy and the Office of Broadband. Those are kind of self-explanatory, but the Development Office can help sort of work as a concierge service. We can explain statutory tax credits and incentives, or put you in touch with the tax department or the Department of Environmental Protection or Department of Highways. That's what we do. You may not know about this, but the state Small Business Credit Initiative from the Department of Treasury has awarded West Virginia, and we just submitted our application, $56 million to invest in small businesses. over 50% of that will be in the form of grants. The other piece will be, repayable, but credit enhancement, balance sheet enhancement, that sort of thing. And those funds we hope will be available, sometime this summer. And we have, if we can deploy those funds quickly, there's another competitive part of the application that we could potentially go up to $72 million, looking for, a 10x leverage on that funding. So pretty exciting. The development office can also help with, access to capital. We work, closely with the West Virginia Economic Development Authority. You'll hear from just after me, and we can help with your capital stack. And Carrie, you've said it well. Ray, you did too. It takes stacking a number of different resources to get projects done. One other thing that might be interesting to you, you may not know about it, the Tourism Development Act is really a great product that we have to offer, particularly for tourism projects. There are a number of parameters under that, but what it allows you to do is to retain 25 up to 35% of the sales tax that you collect for a 10-year period. That's an enormous way to sort of buy down your capital structure. And so we help manage that along with tourism. And we've been very active. There's been a lot of Tourism Development Act initiatives in the past 12 months. So I will tell you that, I still consider myself a recovering entrepreneur after 30 years in business in West Virginia, but the last 3 years has been fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I feel like, we're in a great business environment right now in our state. And we've got a lot of great announcements. The folks that have been with the development office for a long time will tell you that they've never been this busy. We actually probably have a capacity issue, but everybody's working hard and passionate and very excited about what's happening in our state. One last recommendation, check out our website, westvirginia.allspelledout.gov. And there are a number of programs there, self-explanatory, and to encourage you to visit that. And so I'm happy to answer questions if there's time, and I'll yield to Joe Browse. Joe.
Thanks, Mike. And as Mike mentioned, we're the kind of the financing partner and arm of Mike and his very talented team's efforts. He woos them in and we try to get them money. What I'll do is I will kind of just give you the brief commercial of how we traditionally work, but also maybe talk about how it's relevant to many of you and your mission, and respect the time in doing that. But we generally are participatory financing for business lending up to about $10 million. That participation generally works in the form of contributing 45% financing to real estate acquisition, improvements, et cetera, for a business, and 10 years and 40%, or 10-year term and 40% funding on equipment purchasing. We're looking for, again, the participatory lender and equity coming from the borrower. Traditionally, the way that we've been focused on manufacturing with a job creation formula that where I think our current formula is we'd like to see one job created for every $75,000 we lend, and we share collateral with other lenders. So we're working on a lot of projects where a lot of participation comes together. We want to be, we want to collaborate with folks. I would say too that, but moving beyond that kind of traditional manufacturing business, et cetera, we've kind of got a broad directive too with respect to destination tourism, because that's so important to the state here. So we could look at financing on those types of projects. I know a lot of exciting things are happening in that field. Kevin O'Connor mentioned Hatfield-McCoy. The National Park designation is going to open up a lot of opportunities for us, and we hope to be participants in that. And I see Ray Daffner on the call, who taught me everything I know about new markets tax credit financing. And that would be worth a seminar on its own. but West Virginia EDA has played a role in that. And I think one of the projects that we were able to participate as a leverage lender and providing permanent financing on the construction piece, we were able to be a big part of that. And that's, kind of traditionally outside of our mission. And I have to tell you, as challenging as it was to explain the structure and how all of that relates to us taking collateral and the way that was structured because of the tax credits, the historic tax credits, the new markets piece, and the other CDFI lending that Kevin mentioned, that went a long ways towards getting our money off the sideline in the project. And to my board's credit, rather than getting into the structure, they were very interested in the underlying value creating business and how that development is going to impact that particular part of the state in the long term. We had market analysis to go with that. So there's a lot of ways you could look at us and say we're very traditional, but we're learning to be not so traditional. I think Mike would also tell you we do a lot of talking to folks who are interested in renewables and solar. So we're starting to broaden our horizon, looking for the job creation and again the value production in that. So just remember us and ask us questions about how we work, because we'll try to find a way.
Thank you, Joe and Mike, for giving us those great updates and perspective from the state level. I learned about a couple of programs at the development office that I didn't know about, so very excited to hear about all of that. So we're going to move into our final two speakers from the federal perspective. So up first, we have Brad Rubke from the ARC. And just want to make sure I can find your video, Brad.
Hi, Carrie. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Can you all hear me okay? Perfect. Okay, so I'm Brad Rubke with the Appalachian Regional Commission. I'm here to talk to you about who we are, what we do, and some of the funding opportunities that are available. So for those of you who don't know, and I imagine most of you do, we are a federal-state partnership consisting of 13 states. We are also have 423 counties and made up of 74 local development districts. Am I showing, I just realized, I think I might be showing the, is it showing the full screen, or is it showing like the notes version?
Showing like the speaker view.
Yeah. Okay, let me try one other thing real quick then.
Brad, if you jump into the presentation again, you can go to display settings and then just exchange those two screens, and that should resolve the issue.
Okay. Is it still doing the same thing?
Yeah, so if you go over to display settings and then swap presenter, there you go. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so again, we're a federal state partnership made up of 13 states, 423 counties, and 74 local development districts, or some of you call them COGs. Our mission is to innovate, partner, and invest in to build community capacity and strengthen economic growth in Appalachia. So our focus is all on economic development. We have 5 different investment goals. All of the projects that we invest in have to meet at least one of these goals. So probably the ones that are most relevant to you all would be the first one, Appalachian businesses. So the types of projects that we do include incubator projects, revolving loan funds, business investment capital, economic and enterprise development programs, technical assistance, that kind of thing. The other big ones for this group would be the infrastructure program, which I'm a part of. So we do a lot of business and industrial site development projects, providing water and sewer, broadband, which has obviously become a big one in the wake of COVID, access road development, intermodal transportation, and then as well the regional cultural and tourism investment goal. So we do a lot of projects that invest in downtown revitalization, natural and cultural asset development, outdoor recreation, arts, tourism, that kind of stuff. So we do a lot of various types of work, all related to economic development. So we have three big kind of buckets of money. The first one is our largest, is area development. It's kind of our core funding stream. We get an annual allocation that goes out to all 13 of our states. In 2021, we invested about $160 million through that program. So it's the lion's share of our funding that we receive from Congress. Another big one is the power. The power program is a program that invests in coal impacted communities. It's a competitive award program. The main kind of like investment goals for this specific program revolve around economic diversification, job creation, capital investment, and workforce development. And again, it's all kind of targeting coal impacted communities, trying to re-diversify their economies and renew them. That program in 2021, we invested about $46 million. The last one is a new one. It's Inspire. It's related to substance use disorder recovery to work programs. I won't spend much time on that since it's not as relevant. The area development program, which again is our main funding stream, it's a bottom-up approach. So it starts kind of at the local level. Applicants work with local development districts and submit applications to the state for review. The state program manager will then review applications and submit vetted applications to ARC in Washington, where we make our final review and recommend projects for approval to our executive director and federal co-chair. The power process is a little bit different. It's a competitive award program. We issue an RFP. Right now, in fact, the RFP for 2022 is going to be released, I believe, in early March. So usually it's Q1, and the deadline to submit is usually like late spring. I think this year it's going to be May, but don't quote me on that. Check the RFP when it's issued. But the power program, the applications are submitted directly to ARC. They're scored by a panel of people made up by the federal office, one of the states, and an independent subject matter expert. And the top scoring projects are then vetted by the states and sent to us in Washington for final review and recommendation for approval. So that process is just getting started for 2022. A few things about ARC projects like eligibility. So all of our grantees must be nonprofit or a government entity. The project that's being done must be located solely within one of our ARC counties, and it must be closely aligned with one of our investment goals. As far as matching goes, all ARC awards do require match, and the amount of matches that's required is dependent upon the economic designation of whatever county or counties the project is located in. And match can come from pretty much anywhere: federal, state, local, private, and come from anyone. And then just wanted to give you an example of one of the projects that we do. In fact, we already heard a little bit about this grantee, Partner Capital, formerly known as NCIF. So this project, the Downtown Appalachia Redevelopment Initiative, was a 2018 Power awardee. They were awarded just shy of $1.4 million, and the total project was about $4 or $5 million. But this project provides technical assistance to business owners or building owners in West Virginia communities. So it's targeting vacant, dilapidated, or underutilized buildings, and helping them with redevelopment, technical assistance, pre-development services. And it also, a big chunk of that $1.4 million went towards the Downtown Appalachia Redevelopment Loan Fund. And so that's a huge financial resource for eligible property owners for pre-development services, construction, that kind of stuff. And I just put my contact information as well as James Bush, his contact information. He is the ARC program manager for the state of West Virginia.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks.
Our final speaker is Tracy Rowan with the Us Eda. And I know she's got some slides to put up very quickly, and then we are going to get to questions. We are coming up on the noon hour, but please go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and our team is available to stick around for a little while to answer questions, and we will be gathering those questions as a frequently asked question to send around. So if we don't get to your question, we will be following up with that after the session. And with that, I'll hand it to Tracy. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I am so impressed with Opportunity Appalachia and the initiatives that are coming out of this. I truly hope that EDA does end up being partners on some of these because it fits very well in EDA's mission. Our role is to increase America's global economic competitiveness, support community-led economic development with an emphasis on community-led, and help communities develop resilient and agile local economies. We can fund units of local government, nonprofits, economic development authorities, public service districts, any public entity, 501c3, 501c6, and we have a very active application portfolio in West Virginia. If you're interested in applying for EDA funds, please note our investment priorities. There's a link, and I know Carrie and then we'll send you these slides, but it is equity, recovery and resiliency, workforce development, manufacturing, technology-based economic development, environmentally sustainable development, and exports and foreign direct investment. And you must meet at least one, but most of the projects we get from West Virginia meet 4 or 5 of these. West Virginia works out of the Philadelphia Regional Office. These funding approximations, because of the continuing resolution, are what we have available on an annual basis out of the Philly office. The Philly office is 13 states, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and Washington, D.C. We have $26 million in the Public Works program. That is your construction projects, water, sewer, buildings, broadband, pretty much everything in Public Works is construction. We have the Economic Adjustment Assistance Program, and that is your startup costs, your operational costs, salaries, equipment, and it can be construction. We have a technical assistance program, including our university center. We have a planning program. We have the Assistance to Coal Community program, and that is probably 70% of the funding that comes into West Virginia on an annual basis. Almost every county in West Virginia has been impacted by the downturn in the coal industry, and we have a very active portfolio under Assistance to Coal Communities. Those projects can be construction or non-construction. And then we have a nuclear closure program for $11 million. I want to just talk briefly, because everyone has been focused on the American Rescue Plan funding for EDA. But as of today, the only programs left open are number 4, which I'd like to spend just a minute on, an economic adjustment assistance, and number 5, the indigenous communities. As of this morning, EDA has closed all of the programs, of course, Build Back Better. And you heard from Mike Graney earlier, West Virginia was very fortunate to have 2 phase 1 Build Back Betters funded, and the state of West Virginia was one of those. But the Economic Adjustment Assistance Program number 4, this is for infrastructure, technical assistance planning, revolving loan funds through competitive grants through the Philly office. The recommended deadline for this is March 31st. And I know that is right around the corner. 200 million of the 500 million in this program has been set aside for coal impacted communities. But out of the Philly office, we have 130 million, 70 million of which has been set aside for coal impacted communities. so that if you're currently working on a project in a coal impacted community, which is almost every county, you would really want to get in touch with me soon, because the deadline, especially if it's construction, is right around the corner, and I will work with you on that program. But I do want to note that they closed the tourism program today. To give you perspective of how active West Virginia is, the Philly office has $95 million to award in the travel, tourism, and outdoor recreation, and I'm in the process of reviewing over $60 million of applications just from West Virginia. And there's my contact information. A lot of you on this webinar know me, but at any point, if you need me, just give me a call and I'll work with you. And thank you for letting me present today.
Thank you so much, Tracy, and thank you to the rest of our panelists on this session, as well as the rest of our 2 hours. And thanks to everyone who's hung with us through all of this loads of information. I realize it is a lot, and I hope that you are writing incredibly quickly and captured all of it verbatim. But in case you didn't, we will be sharing all of the slides, as well as a recording with you afterwards. And I got a request through the chat for contact information for all of the speakers, and we'll include that as well. So now I will invite any of our speakers who are still here are here to answer your questions. So we can answer questions, especially about the specifics of Opportunity Appalachia and that program. But if you have questions for the other speakers, a couple of folks did have to leave. But if we can't hit your question, we will follow up with them and get you an answer. And I know we have gotten some questions in the chat so far. So our team is going to start looking through to find some of those. Some of them were answered in the chat. To clarify, I think we said this a few times, but just to be sure and underline the point, in this round of Opportunity Appalachia, projects do not have to be in an opportunity zone. They can be in any part of West Virginia with the exception of Jefferson County, and that is based on ARC county status. So any project in West Virginia that's not in Jefferson County is eligible.
Carrie, there were 2 questions. This is Ray Daffner. There were 2 questions that I noted earlier, and if it's all right, I'd be happy to respond to
Sounds
those.
great.
Sure. One of the questions said, are sewer projects eligible? And the response to that would be Opportunity Appalachia would review that project for community impact. So some of those community impact measures have to do with local job creation and quality job creation, and have to look at direct job creation impacts from that project. And of course, there's also evaluative criteria related to investability. So if that project intends to raise 100% grant money, then that is not the type of project that Opportunity Appalachia is looking to support. But if that sewer project is looking for different types of funding that have some repayment requirements as well, then that could be a fit. Carrie, I think there was a second question related to, is housing eligible? And just wanted to highlight that absolutely housing is eligible. And you saw from the STAPS project, that's a mixed use project. There's retail, there's office, commercial, and housing. If a project was 100% housing, Opportunity Appalachia would need to review that project again for the community impact, specifically related to job creation, direct job creation, quality of that job creation. Our contractors engaging certain targeted populations that we're looking to support. All this information is in the intake form. Probably a mixed use project is going to be a better fit, but a 100% housing project is not excluded. So Carrie, those were 2 questions that I saw pop out. I know
there was another question about what if a portion of the project financing comes from a federal agency, and it was regarding the match, the pay it forward initiative that we're doing with this phase. Is that part of what you would account for in your pay it forward amount?
Thank you, Catherine. Absolutely. As you could hear from the presentations, all of these projects are financed with blended capital stacks. Some of them will involve historic tax credits or new market tax credits, opportunity zone investment, bank debt from CDFIs, as well as federal grants. So the amount of funds raised would include grant sources. And so, Catherine, related to that question, yes, that if funds were raised from public sources, that would be included as part of the basis, as it were, for calculating a repayment for the pay it forward fund. It would not be excluded.
All right, and then I think there was one other one that I received in the chat, and it was about a competitive process for the TA. So if you're approved for the technical assistance, is there a competitive procurement process required?
Yeah, so the way the TA process works is Opportunity Appalachia contracts for the TA. You as the project submitter, the participating project, you don't contract for the TA. So the Opportunity Appalachia program will review the eligible participating TA providers and will issue competitive RFPs that people can respond to. So if you have people in your community who might want to respond, you'll have people who you prefer to work with who will respond, and there'll be others who will respond too. And then Opportunity Appalachia will review those responses for quality and cost. And then before making any final selection, we'll talk with your project to make sure that you'd be comfortable with that TA provider that is being recommended. And in some cases, there might be 2 or 3 that are highly recommended. And then that local project, your project, will help make that final determination. Donna, did I get that right, do you think?
You got that perfectly right, Ray Daphner. Absolutely.
That was it for the questions that came through the chat. Again, we'll be following up with posting the slides, the various slides to both to all the attendees here and partly on the Opportunity Appalachia web page, which I will put in the chat again right now.
You know, just to underscore, you know, $1 million project is not too small to participate, as everyone has said here. And, you know, we just highlighted some of the larger transactions because they're getting ready to be financed. Those people have been working really, really hard. Ty and Dave Clark and Heather have been working so hard, and it's really exciting to see. I think the Tigard Hotel is going to close on financing this month, which is really congratulations to Woodlands and the team there. But small projects are welcome. Is that right, Carrie?
That's right. Definitely welcome.
We are ready to talk to anybody. I've already actually had a number of people reach out even prior to the presentation today, and obviously during the presentation I received a bunch of contact. So we're on the ground running and looking forward to it.
And what's great about sort of the Brownfield Center being the lead is that to our detriment, sometimes we are very, very loath to tell people, no, we can't help you. And so if you talk to Ray Moeller and it doesn't feel like an Opportunity Appalachia fit, he will likely be able to help you figure out another opportunity that may be a better fit, or other technical assistance that our center can provide. So just again, Ray is your go-to. We do have other folks on our staff who aren't with us today who will be supporting this project, and he can get you to those if that's a better fit from a project manager side perspective, but definitely reach out and let us help you figure it out.
Carrie, do we want to, if anybody has a burning question right now, if they want to unmute, we'd probably let them ask it out if they wanted to.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think, and following on the theme of what I heard Tracy Rowan say is that West Virginia is full of overachievers. We are continuing that trend. So we are the first state launch webinar, and the applications just became available today, and they are not due until April. So there's plenty of time to think about it, plenty of time to follow up with us and ask your questions. If we start getting a lot of questions, we may host a special sort of FAQ session again as a follow-up in a month or so, but definitely don't wait for that. Reach out directly and we'd be happy to chat with you at any point. Okay, Reese is on your list, Ray. Very excited.
Yeah, Tim Reese, I'm always leery of that guy.
Great projects going on in your neck of the woods.
Dave Clark, was your call successful, and are you on track? You want any live updates?
Breaking news from Dave Clark? No.
We confirmed this month, so it'll be nonstop through the end of the month, but we are on track to close.
Right.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. Thanks again to our speakers and to all of our partners for their great support in putting this together and in managing this program and getting another great resource into West Virginia communities. I will go ahead and formally close our session, but our team will still stick around if you wanted to ask something maybe in a smaller group. You are welcome to stick around with us, and we look forward to seeing all of your wonderful applications in the next few weeks.
I'll be talking to a bunch of you.
Thanks, everyone.
Great job, everyone. Thank you so much.